Thank you again for having me. I'm so excited. I think it's appropriate to really kind of just share my story so you can kind of get an understanding about me and what I do and about my artwork. Well, I'm 23 years old and I'm a self-taught artist. I've never been to college for art. The most I've really got is maybe a 1-hour art class in high school. And I say in high school, in my art class, I did it every year. So I spent about 50 minutes a day with my art, and I've been a creator since I was a child, but I can honestly say that art really couldn't keep my attention because of my environment. It was very chaotic. My neighborhood it was a lot going on, just a lot of peer pressure. I had personal issues, things may be going on with my family. So it kind of made my high school years a struggle. Does anybody have any chaos in their life going on? Raise your hand so I don't feel alone. Yes. Okay, great. So I could say one of my biggest barriers while I was in high school was dealing with death. And, we all know that death is a part of life, but when, it finally reaches you, you kind of really don't know how you're going to react. And so my cousin was murdered my freshman year of high school, and it was a very brutal murder. And that's kind of, I'm not going to say it's the first time that it hit my family, but it was the first time that I was able to really kind of experience those emotions from losing someone so close to me in such a violent way. So I was, learning, at that point in my life, I was learning how to paint portraits. I've always known how to draw, and but I was really learning the technical way of doing portraits. So I lost another friend my sophomore year. This is a childhood friend. We've grew up since I was maybe 5 years old. We've had every class together. In elementary school, we, same neighborhood, knew his family knew mine. And he was murdered my sophomore year. So it wasn't even a whole year later that I had to deal with it again. So at this point, I had my first portrait project. I painted a black and white portrait of myself because I didn't want to offend anybody. My first time painting, I was, like, that doesn't look like me. So I was like, well, let me do myself, I could be my own judge, let myself know if I look good. So I painted this portrait. It was okay, but my peers thought it was like wonderful. And I'm like, doesn't really look like me, but I'll take that. So I had a project to do an oil painting. And I was like, I want to paint my friend. Now. I don't know why I decided to paint him. I was going through kind of really memorializing him. And, we had shirts. We would do a lot of things in our communities, different gatherings, just trying to find different ways to grieve. So when I painted this picture, the emotions that I went through, it was just like, it was a struggle for me to do this project. Usually I could fly through an art project, but this is the first time I really experienced I was like, Miss McClendon, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this. Because I remember one day I just started crying, and I was like, this is really making me emotional, It's just pulling different feelings out of me. And so I painted that portrait. I actually painted two of him. And I feel like this is a big part of my story. I made it to my 12th grade year, my last semester of my 12th grade year of high school. And I dropped out. I gave up. Now, at that time in my life, I really realized that, I can't really just walk through life without a plan or without a goal. I really have to envisioning myself doing something to get there. So once I realized that I wasn't going to be able to graduate with my class, at Butler High School, it just caused a very deep depression over my life. It's like all these deaths, had caught over me. I was dealing with a death every year. I lost another little cousin my senior year. I had to go to a funeral my very first day of school. So I didn't really realize that I was dealing with so much grief and sorrow until I dropped out. And it was just a hard time for me. And like I said, my life was just chaotic. So, but I'm a fighter. I am a fighter, and I'm very strong. So I told myself, I'm still going to graduate before I turn 18, because I was going to graduate with my class while I was 17. I did that. 1 week before my 18th birthday, but I did it. So the following year, the following year, I lost another cousin. I know. I lost another cousin. He was murdered. His name is Damine Ramsey. He was murdered in 2015. And I can really say that I had matured a lot at that time in my life. So I took his death. It was just like extremely hard for me. It was very hard, and it was so close to my family. Again, it just was hard, trying to get the mental support and the emotional support I needed from my family and my friends, because it was just hard. So his birthday was coming up. It was about 2016. And I didn't mention when I dropped out, I kind of gave up on my art. And now the reason why I gave up on my art, because I really had in my head that, all these stereotypical things about artists, they don't make a lot of money. You may not get recognized until you pass away. Then when you're gone, your artwork will just blow up. And I'm like, I don't want to go through that. I want people to know me now. I want them to recognize what I'm doing now. So I just was like, I don't want to be an artist anymore. But everything else I was doing was not making me happy. It didn't fulfill, my heart the way I needed it to. So, I was just going through a transition in my life, and I was like, I'm going to get back in tune with my art. Maybe this will help me find some happiness. And so his birthday was coming up, Damine's birthday was coming up. So I decided to paint a portrait of him. I kind of thought about what I did with my friend my sophomore year. I painted a portrait of him, and I went through the same emotions. I may have been happy, like, oh my gosh, this looks just like him. It looks so real. Get really sad. I may, rub and kiss on the picture, because it felt very realistic, and I put a lot of love into my painting. So it's almost, at that moment, I realized that I was providing myself therapy. I was providing myself a way to heal, a way to deal with my chaos in my life. But I didn't realize that I would be able to affect hundreds of people in different families, that have gone through the same thing. So I had posted a picture online of my cousin. Didn't have any intentions on selling my artwork. I hadn't even, thought that far about what I wanted to do with my art. But I shared my work, and I was new to social media. I wasn't new. I kind of took a break when I dropped out. I was like, I don't want people to know, my business or what I got going on. So I was like, I'll pop back out when I'm getting it together. So, so I made a Facebook account. I'm like, I'm about to share my art, let people know I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. So I shared my portrait of my cousin, and the response I got was, I was overwhelmed. I was like, wow, people really like it. Like, they love this. They like this. So Thanksgiving was coming up, and my family was having a hard time. If you ever lost someone, the holidays, they become really hard. You're used to spending holidays with your immediate family, with your close family and your friends. So I seen my family going through these emotions again, and I'm like, I know I'm not the only one. I know we're not the only ones. So what I want to do is I want to host an art show. I want to have an art show. And I told my mom, and she was like, Jaylin, because like I said, my life was chaotic. I was in a position where I had just got stabled in a home. We had went through a big transition. So I didn't have any money to do an art show. I barely had money to get my canvas, my paintbrush, and my paint. Well, I told my mom, I was like, I need your help. I need you to help me get what I need to do this art show. She was like, you're crazy. Thanksgiving is in 1 week, People, how's this gonna work? I'm like, Mama, I just need you to support me. I just need you to support me. She had my back 100%. So I painted 10 portraits. It was my first 10 portraits that I painted. And 9 of those portraits sold. I only have 1 left, 1 original. So, but I did this art show because I wanted to gather families that was dealing with the same thing I was dealing with. People that have lost people, not only through gun violence, but through, maybe cancer or illness or just a sudden death that was a shocker to your family. So I did that first art show, and wow, it was amazing. Like, I am still overwhelmed to this day. This was 2 years ago, and I just thinking about it, it's just like, wow, I did that. But it wasn't a feeling of accomplishment for myself. I was so happy that I was able to help other people and to heal other people in the midst of my chaos. You know, I never once going, well, this is what I'm going through in my life, so, you know, I need you all to feel sympathy for me. For one, I had, you know, grown to a point, I'm like, I felt like I was, you know, I was going through it so much and so long. I felt like when I talked about what I had going, it was a sad story. And like everybody doesn't want to hear that all the time. So I was like, well, I've always wanted to help people. I've wanted to be everything, a counselor, a nurse, a doctor, anything that could help people. But I never realized that my art could do healing the way that it had started to do. So I was providing therapy and healing to other families. So people was reaching out to me to do different art exhibitions. And my second show was very important to me because I'm from a neighborhood, it's called Victory Park. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Victory Park. Victory Park's not known for a lot of good things, but I can't say great people come from that neighborhood, you know, despite what people say about it. But it's known for a lot of gangs and violence and drugs and different things like that. So I was asked to paint 6 homicide victims that had happened in the Shelby Park neighborhood, it's the East End, in 2016. In 2016, for those who are not from Louisville, we have reached our peak of homicide. It was like the highest number that we had experienced. And I knew a lot of those people, I knew a lot of those families, because a lot of them were local. And a lot of it was gang related. Now, I just want to, Shelby Park was not, that was like my neighborhood's rival gang. Like, you know, they didn't get along, so I'm not really supposed to be on that side of town in the midst of war, or I'm not supposed to show love, you know, or, you know, even though we all are the same, we all go through the same thing. It was just, you know, this thin line that I wasn't supposed to cross. But when I got asked to do this art show, I said, I'm going to jump over this line. I said, because the reason why I want to do that is because I have to let everybody know that what I'm doing is for everybody. And it is love. I feel like love overpowers everything. You know, I really do feel like love overpowers everything. There's more love in this world than it is hate. You know, and I feel that way because if there was just hate, you know, like we think it is, we would probably all be fighting and, you know, just going crazy under this tent, you know. But, you know, so I just really feel like love conquers everything. So it was important for me to do that show because I had to let, you know, my neighborhood, and I wanted to let the whole city know that I am here to help heal everybody. And my artwork is not for me. It's not just, you know, for my healing, but it's for you all. You know, so that's kind of about my story and why I started to do my art. And I asked if anybody had chaos going on in their life, and a lot of people, pretty much everybody, you know, rose their hand. And I know there's more than death in life. You know, there's different things that may cause you to go through different things. But I really do challenge, you know, all my creators to create in a space that you feel like you cannot create. You know, really challenge yourself to do something, you know, when you're angry or when you're sad or when you're mad. I know we love to create when we're happy because we feel like, you know, it'll come out beautiful and, you know, just be vibrant. But really challenge yourself and see what you can do when you're not in the mood to create. Because, you know, while I found peace with doing my art, I really found happiness. You know, I had got a lot of support from my city, and I'm very blessed, and I'm thankful for that, because a lot of people, especially artists, don't get that at such a young age. So once I got that support, I'm sorry, y'all. I got that support, and I'm sorry, I was nervous. I got that support, and I found that peace. But just last year, the day after Thanksgiving, I lost another cousin, but this time it was not a murder. It wasn't a murder. I had gotten so used to, you know, all these violent deaths, and I kind of gotten to a point where I thought, I'm like, if something like this happens again, I'll know exactly how to grieve. I know exactly what I need to do. I'll just paint a picture, you know, I take some time to myself and really try to, you know, give myself some attention. I know what I need to do now. So I lost my cousin. He was 25 years old, and he's my first cousin. This is my aunt's son, so he's like my brother. You know, your cousins are your first best friends. So, and he had a heart attack. So it was a very unexpected death, and it was so close to my family. Like I've lost people, but I've never really had to sit down at a table and like plan a funeral because my aunt was so distraught, or my mother, you know, I never had to go that deep into it. So that took me to a totally different place while I was so caught in, you know, in my peace, you know. So it became chaotic again while I was doing what I love, while I was, you know, challenging myself to heal. And I wanted to give up. And I did. It wasn't long. It was just for a few weeks. And because I'm like a machine. Like, I paint these pictures so fast. I be so excited. I get so excited, I just want to get them done. But it's like I didn't want to paint anymore. I had a feeling of, well, Jaylin, are you bringing this on yourself? You know, you're dealing with death so closely, and you're dealing with trying to heal other people's families. Are you not focusing on yourself? I felt like, am I not loving my family enough? You know, is my art a distraction to what I really should be focusing on? So I dealt with that, you know, and I was in my happy place. But I can honestly say it is the worst I felt in my life. Like, because I felt lost. I felt like the one thing that finally did get me to a certain place, it was challenged again. I was challenged once again. But, you know, I can say today, almost a year later, that I'm grateful that I went through that. And I'm grateful that I had that challenge, because even when we do find different ways to make ourselves happy in the midst of chaos, something is always going to happen. You know, something is always going to happen. Everything is not going to go right every time. You know, it's just not, life's not perfect. And I'm kind of feeling like life is just a little chaotic period. But we have to really hold on to the things that make us happy and the things that, you know, helps us find peace. And I love people so much, and I have such a genuine love for human life that I was like, I can't give up what I'm doing. I can't give up what I'm doing, because this is really what I want to do for the rest of my life. You know, I'm hurting right now, but maybe I'm hurting because I'm the one to really, you know, try to help these people. I feel like at that moment I needed to be strong. I had to be strong because I had a lot of people relying on me. It's like, when are you going to do another show, Jaylin? Like, are you still painting? Like, why'd you stop painting? I wanted you to come speak. I wanted you to come teach an art class. And I'm like, I don't know. I'll call you back. I'll see. I had a lot going on right now. So I have to say that also too, that you all should really believe in something greater than yourself. You know, I know we all believe in different things, but me believing in a higher power really helped pull me out of the space that I was in, because I had prayed and prayed and prayed, and I really had to beg. I begged God. I just, please, you know, just point me into the right direction. Let me know that if what I'm doing is right. Let me know if what I'm doing is wrong. Because I had experience too where people were questioning me about what I was doing. You know, I'm like, some people think it's just beautiful and inspiring, but I had dealt with a few people like, why do you want to do this? Like, you don't want to paint flowers or abstract art? Like, that's what sells. And I have to say, I've never had an issue with selling my artwork because it's genuine. And I know it's needed. And as creators, I know that we all know art lasts a lifetime. Art, you know, lives longer than us. So I knew that I was creating something that could live forever, you know, so. But that really, it got to me, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should start painting flowers or something, because I can do that too. I'm really good at that too. I can paint anything, you know, but I really love doing this. But like when I lost my cousin, you know, just that reminder of how much I love people. Because sometimes I may read a story about someone, because I read a story about someone and I'll just paint it because I just will feel so strongly about what happened to them. And I would feel so strongly about what happened to how their family is feeling. I can honestly say that I painted over, right now it's almost 3 years. It'll be 3 years in November. I've painted well over 200 portraits. So that's a lot of people that I've gotten to know. It's a lot of families that I've gotten to know too. And I really feel like I know some of these victims personally, because I've gotten so close with their family. And I'm just grateful for that. And the reason, and the challenge I gave you all, is to create, when you feel like you can't create, when life is rough, when you just feel maybe hatred or sad, I challenge you all to do that, because people will question. People will question, what is this for? What is this about? Well, why did you do that? And that's the opposite. I feel like art is a good way of communicating without us having to speak. We can tell stories, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be about your life. It could be about a topic that you're just really sensitive about, so you want to create some artwork about that. So I really encourage you all to do that, because it helps other people. It helps other people, and you never know who you could reach. I never thought that I would be standing here today at Creative Mornings speaking with you all, but my art has brought me here, and I'm so grateful for that. This is my first time attending Creative Mornings, and I was able to speak and share my story and kind of try to inspire you all, encourage you all to try to really create or work through your chaos. Because like I said, life is chaotic, period. We just really have to find what helps us and helps other people. And I've learned too, by doing the work that I do, when you bless other people, even when you don't have it, you'll still get blessed. You'll still get what you need at the end of the day. Because like I said, when I did my first show, I barely had somewhere to live. But I wanted to help 10 families, this year. I wanted to help them. And look where I'm at now. I'm very happy with where my art took me. And the reason why I'm happy, because like I said, it's not about me. It's about you all. It's about you all. I get opportunities to inspire you all, and try to, I don't know what you all have going on in your life, but I know no one's perfect. And I know, there's always something going on. So my art is, love and it's support. And every time you all see one of my portraits or any artwork that I do, I really want you all to have a sense of hope, I really want you all, to feel great, and whatever you're going through, it's not the end. Just know Jaylin cares. Jaylin cares about you all, and I just hope that I can keep inspiring you all, throughout my career. So, and thank you all for having me. All right, thank you so much. Q&A? Yeah, that's right, yep. Thank you.
Well, one of the things I'm really curious about, because you've talked about creating even when you don't feel like creating, and then also the impact it had when you actually shared that first piece on social. So could you probably speak to a little bit of how important was it for you to show your work during this process? Did it help you? Did it hurt? Do you usually keep it hidden, or do you always show it, and how do you show it, and why?
Well, when I went through what I had mentioned about my cousin last year and I wanted to give up, it was important for me to show my work again and to show that I was still working, because I got the feeling of I was helping other people. I don't know. I know I was going through it about my own personal issues, but just when I posted, people were so excited. They were happy. Like, just the happiness that other people had for me gave me hope that I would be okay. That my art, it gave me the support that I needed, and it gave me the confidence that I needed that I really didn't have in myself. So when I posted, my artwork again, when I shared it and I had my next show, it was just, it reminded me of the self-love that I needed to continue to give myself. And it reminded me that I needed to continue to take care of myself. I know I said that my artwork isn't just for me, but I realized that you have to take care of yourself, Jaylin. You're trying to heal everybody else, but you have to stay in tune with yourself, because if I don't have it together, I'm not able to do my artwork and, share it with other people to make other people happy.
That's awesome. We'll take like 2 questions out here. Okay. Yeah, in the back. Shout it out loud.
Yeah, I was just wondering, you said you like to
Yes, yes. When I lost my cousin last year, I felt like I'm bringing this on myself. Like, why do you want to? I really felt like, why do you want to do such sad work? Like, I started thinking about doing it, and I even tried. You know, I was like, I went to an art show. I seen a lot of beautiful abstract work, and I was like, I'm gonna start doing this. And I was doing it, and even, you know, I still have the pictures in my studio. And then I would do it, I'm like, this sucks. Like, I just don't like this. You know, it would look great, but it just didn't give me the happiness and the joy that I wanted. You know, so. But when I went through that last year, I wanted to burn every picture that I had. You know, but, and I don't even like saying that, because these pictures are people that so many people love and so many people care about, you know, and they're so important to, you know, these families and these friends. So me giving up on myself would be giving up on everybody else. And I mentioned at the beginning of the speech that I'm a fighter. So I couldn't lose like that. I couldn't lose like that. So I decided to keep going.
One more. That was a good question. Carrie?
Can you tell us about the portraits that are here today, who those people are?
Yes.
About their stories?
Absolutely. So I'm glad you asked that. So these first two portraits of the two boys, the first one, those are brothers. Their name is Larry and Maurice. And those two boys were brutally stabbed and burned to death. They was tortured. They was stabbed over 50 times. And it was just a lot with that story. But I feel like that was a story that affected our entire city, because they were only 14 and 16 years old. And at the time, we were still in the peak of their homicide, but they were the youngest. And I'm like, for kids to have to go through this, for it to hurt me, and I'm a complete stranger, I don't know anything about their family, you know, or anything like that. I felt like it was my job to paint it, you know. And what I did with that, and that's why so much glitter, it was around Christmas time. It would have been their mother, Miss Marie, her first year celebrating Christmas without her sons. So I painted that for her for Christmas, and she actually gave it back to me, and I was so upset, because she wants her son's legacy to live on. She wants people to ask. She wants people to know what happened to them. You know, she just doesn't want their name to die. The two brothers here, I don't know much about their family, but I've read a lot into their story. That was a double homicide suicide. Their mother actually killed them. And she killed them and she killed herself. Like I said, I don't know much about their family, but that story hurt me so bad. And I believe that was like the day before my birthday, that year that happened. But it hurt me so bad, just to hear that. And I don't want to judge, you never know what someone is going through or what their mother was going through, but I just felt deep sorrow for that family and for them. This young lady, her name is Miss Cece, she was murdered on her way to work. She was murdered on her way to work in her car. And we were friends as kids. We played together. My aunt was very close friends with her mother. That one right there, the gentleman, his name is Alex. That's actually my cousin. That's the cousin that I mentioned was murdered my freshman year of high school. And I can smile and talk about him, because I really found, I just get so happy that he gets to travel with me, and I get to share his story, he gets to live on with me. And so it's, and when I just recently did this portrait, and I have to share that I did this portrait when I wanted to give up. I really had to go back to why I was doing what I was doing. This was one of the first ones that really affected my life the way that it did. And when I did that, it brought me so much joy and it brought me so much happiness. So that was really special to me. And this is Brandon. He's from my neighborhood. He was murdered as well. He was shot in Victory Park. Brandon's a wonderful person. He is such a loving friend. He's a son. He's a father. He's awesome in every type of way. And what happened to him, I hate that it happened to him that way, because that's not something that was really meant for him. So this right here, his name is Nikki. This is one of my favorite pieces. The light's kind of shining through him, but it's all right. But that's one of my favorite pieces, because I love I love the colors on it. And if you notice, a lot of my artwork is very colorful. And the reason why I make them so colorful and bright is because when you look at the pictures, I don't want you to think of death. I want you to think of life before anything. I want you to think of life, and I want you to think of love, and think about who loves them and who that person really was. So, but Nicholas, he was murdered on the highway. So his car was shot up on the expressway. So that's what happened to him. This gentleman right here, he was murdered outside of a nightclub called Cole's. And that caused a lot of controversy in our community because it's a club, a community club everybody goes to. So the safety, you know, of that club in the neighborhood, it was like a big concern. And he was a local rapper. And he had a big effect on hip hop here in Louisville, and I believe outside of Louisville as well. And so it was important for me to paint that for his brother. And that's another one that's actually came back to me because, you know, people want their legacy to live on. And that's one thing it's a quote that I've kind of created and I really like to share with other people. The legacy is always greater than the lost. I just want you all to remember that because the loss is more so of the sadness. You know, it's where we grieve and that's where we have all those hard times. But the legacy is where we remember, you know, how great these people are, who they were trying to be, you know, and who they've affected, who they love. You know, you just remember all the positive things about people. You know, legacy, usually you don't talk about negative things, you know. So I always like to say the legacy is greater than the loss. And here on the end, this is Kendrick Bell. His nickname is Fresh. And this one, him and Brandon, when I know them personally. We're all from the same neighborhood. We're like family. And when I lost Fresh, it just affected me differently because that's someone that was so proud of the work that I was doing, so proud of the space that I had pulled myself out of. You know, and what I was doing, nobody's ever done in my neighborhood. You know, we have this stereotypical thing, if you don't rap, shoot ball, or hustle, you're not gonna make it out of the hood. So for me to come from Victory Park, painting pictures, and be able to reach some of the success that I have, he was so proud of me. He was very proud of me. He always called me boss. And he had, his family has dealt with a lot of death. He's lost his mother. He lost his father to violence, to gun violence. And he had asked me to paint pictures of his parents. And he was like, just give me a little while. He was like, he wanted to get it as a gift for his sisters. He was like, just give me a little while. He was like, I just need to get right with myself before I could do that, because I know it would pull a lot out of him. And I told him, just take his time. So when he passed away, it really hurt my heart, because I felt like there was somebody relying on me. You know, had hope in me to do great, you know, to show people from all over that no matter where you come from, you know, it doesn't determine where you're going, you know. So that's about all the portraits that I have back there. So thank you for asking that. Thank you.
Jaylin, thanks for sharing your story.
Absolutely.
I think the power of when you see so much blow up on Twitter, there's a distance. But to have the realization and hear your story of this is our city, and this isn't just a Twitter blurb.
Yes.
But these are people that have actually happened in our community and in our city. And as much as we can unify this creativity to activate, to unify our city, can be a powerful thing. And Jaylin, thanks for leading in that effort.
No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
And I want to give a major shout out to the Louisville Urban League.
Oh, yes.
Reynolds spoke at our event a couple of years ago, and she's a phenomenal leader. And there's so many great people on her staff, like Jaylin, but they're producing amazing leaders out of those programs. So if you're ever looking to get involved in an area like the Louisville Urban League, I would highly encourage you. Jaylin will stick around. There's probably some more coffee and focus water, but thanks for coming, and we'll see you in October.